Hello and welcome to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel. Today we're going to be looking at the Citroen C15 van. Welcome back, and if you are into car brochures, please consider subscribing. We look at car brochures 3 times a week from around the world. I know for a lot of people it's nice looking back on cars you may have remembered from your youth or indeed owned them in the past. Today's brochure is for the Citroen C15 van, like we say. Now, the Citroen C15 van first arrived late 1984, although I don't think it actually arrived till 1985 for the UK, and indeed this brochure is a UK brochure dated 1988. I also seem to remember, maybe someone in the comments may be able to back this up, that when they first arrived in the UK, they were almost special editions. There was a Van Rouge or a Van Blanc, denoting if it's either a red van or a white van. This brochure doesn't show that. This is a little bit later, but indeed the only colours of the vans are red or white. Of course, this particular van, on the front at least, was based on the Citroen Visa. But anyway, let's have a look at today's brochure. So here we go, today's brochure for the Citroen C15 van, dated 1988, the UK, and this particular brochure, it is in very good condition. It's not a huge brochure by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a nice one, I think. The 15, if anyone is interested, that really is denoting to the 1500 kilogram gross vehicle weight rating for this particular vehicle. The date is on the back somewhere, so we'll have a look at the back page. There's lots of specifications on the back, so we'll come back to that in a moment. The design, yes, the front end is very much Citroen Visa, which it's based upon. You can notice that single wiper and these very spindly rear view mirrors, or door mirrors I should say, but a very practical vehicle. And it's kind of like a vehicle I didn't really think too much at the time. I was very much into Citroen 2CV6s at the time, and I always thought I much preferred the Citroen the Citroen 2CV6 vans at the time when these came out. Now looking back, I kind of wish I actually got one, to be honest with you, because they were very cheap little vans, and now looking back I do like them now that they're all gone. It ran until 2005, these particular vans. But anyway, let's have a look inside. Okay, so first thing, the car stock is quite thick, so maybe that's why it lasted in such good condition, I don't know. First of all, we notice this is a particular one, is a red version. Like I say, reds or whites at the beginning. I can't remember if they did different colours later on or not. Jot down in the comments if there were different colours in the UK, but I only remember reds and whites, and indeed this brochure is just showing reds and white vans, although I think red was the most popular colour. I seem to remember seeing much more red than any other colour. Nice side view of this particular van. Interestingly, if we zoom in, unlike a lot of the little Citroens at the time, it's actually got 4 nuts on the wheels as opposed to 3. And we also get a little image of that very practical load space. Certainly a practical vehicle. It wasn't a huge amount of money, so it certainly made a lot of sense, and they sold pretty well. Majority were diesels, but we'll come to that in a moment. We'll read some of this. We're not going to read it all, but we'll certainly read some of the text. Okay, the Citroen C15 van's the power to deliver. The award-winning C15 van is a practical vehicle offering an unrivaled combination of load space, lively performance, comfortable ride, all with a high level of driver comfort. Its smart modern lines will appeal to those who require something more stylish than the ordinary load carriers, with a choice of 3 bold colours. So there we go, we've been proved wrong straight away. There was a third colour. I certainly know when it was first launched in 85 there was just the Van Blanc, Van Rouge, you know, a white or a red one. I certainly remember red being the most popular colour, but there was a third colour. Maybe we might find out in a moment. I'm not sure. I've not really looked at this brochure for a long time. Maybe it was blue. We might find out. Let's just see how we go. The C15 is ideal for the application of eye-catching graphics conveying a positive image to the user's customers, and it carries on. I will try and get a bit more of that in the shot if you want to actually want to read to the end of that paragraph. And it's also showing on here the 3 different engine choices. So C15 diesel was the most popular one, and certainly most of them I saw were diesels, but there were 2 petrol choices, an 1124cc or the C15E Super, which was 1360cc. I don't think they were that popular petrols. I think they were mainly sold as diesels in the UK. The wording does carry on up the top there if you do want to carry on reading most of this text, and you can also pause it if you want to read it in your own time. But if we go down to the bottom, that does carry on at the bottom. There we go. It says the practical features are a result of attention to detail by Citroen designers. So we've got front wheel drive, rack and pinion steering, servo assisted front disc, rear drum brakes, all ideally matched to the C15. And it says the C15 offers you the power to deliver with style, comfort and outstanding economy. And they were very economical vehicles, which we'll see in a moment. So here we go, 2 more little images. We get the first shot of a white one now, but it doesn't appear to be that third colour. So it says the Citroen C15 vans, the power to deliver load space. C15 vans, the power to deliver payload. And if we zoom in, it's telling us today's light vans are used to carry ever more goods, with space being a major purchase influence. Maximum usable load space was a prime consideration when designing the C15. So we've got tall twin rear doors open to reveal unrivaled load space, 94 cubic feet. But it's not just size that's important. Citroen's designers successfully sought the double goal of both large load space and easy user access. Nothing can be more frustrating than trying to load bulky items into a poorly designed vehicle. And it goes on to tell us, you know, the rear doors open 90 degrees and then they can go a further 180 degrees. Continues on and on. Not going to read all of it, obviously, but if we look down the bottom there, it tells us we've also got other little clever little things in there. So it says you can use a roof rack to carry longer loads. In this event, the C15 has bolting holes permanently built into the load bearing section of the roof, for which an accessory roof rack is available. And then it's really telling us how practical this particular vehicle is. And we've got a little bit of a box there, so a 94 cubic feet box that can fit in there, and also this 585 kilogram weight that we can fit in there as well. And it was a clever design with this higher sort of roof. For a small van, it was a pretty clever little idea. We've got a little bit of a chart here giving some of the dimensions as well, before it continues talking more about the payload. So the C15's 585 kilogram payload is very competitive and carefully Citroen design enables the user to make the most of it, and it gives you some of these sort of figures, and also your towing figures on there as well. And it continues. I'll leave that on there for you to read if you do want to read the whole thing. And it also, and of course you can pause it if you want to read it if you don't have time. It gives you the vehicle weights there as well. One little feature I probably should also kind of like mention while we're here is you can see this little bit of a cutout. I think some of the French versions, or at least non-UK versions, had an option for this to be a window, and they had a little seat at the back there as well, so hence why that little cutout is there. The other interesting thing to note on this particular model, if you look, we have just got the free wheel nuts. So what we kind of like more think of when we think about small French cars, small French vans, I'm assuming, it doesn't say it, I'm assuming this is the petrol version, hence why it's got them 3 wheel nuts. I don't know if this is the non-super or the super had 3 as well, but certainly that first page showed 4 wheel nuts. I thought I'd just point that out. I also quite like on these how the doors kind of like curve over like that. And then this final double page is showing us the both economy and comfort. So the C15 vans, the power to deliver. C15 vans, the power to deliver. And then it continues to give us some more worded text on some of the facts, which we'll have a look at, and we'll also look at some of these images as well. So first of all, it's telling us here lower operating cost results in higher retained profits for the operator. So telling us what a economical little car this one is. It goes on to tell us the C15D has a top speed of 83 miles per hour, and the 15E Super, the larger engine petrol, has a top speed of 86. Before telling us the fuel economy, the D, a 55.5 mile per gallon at 56, and the 15E doing 37 miles per gallon in an urban cycle. There is a nice little chart actually here. It's an easier way to say them fuel economy figures, but they're all a very economical vehicle. But you can certainly see the advantages of that little diesel engine, which, like I say, seems to be the most popular choice. It goes on to tell us about the power units and the economy, and there was also gearbox options as well. So I think the smaller engine, you can just get it as a 4-speed. The diesel and the super, the larger engine petrol, you can get it as a 4 or a 5-speed gearbox, I seem to remember. And it tells us a little bit more about the body. Overall, just say it's a very fuel efficient, practical little van, which of course it was. I'm sure it was a good little van for lots of small businesses, whether you're a window cleaner or whatever your small business want. It was certainly a good little van, and like I said, there weren't a huge amount to buy. Nice little image of the interior. Very Citroen-esque steering wheel, but you can see just very sort of standard stalks, very standard speedo gauge. The gauge is all very standard by this stage, nothing too wacky in the Citroen, although you can certainly see as it tunes in, you still got a little Citroen hat where you wanted to put the ventilation at the hat or at your feet. A very sort of little Citroen-esque feature. Another look at this bit of a moody shot of this red van in the dark with the lights on, and those Citroen-esque comfortable seats. So just seating for 2, of course. It goes on to say the C15 is designed with the principles that a comfortable driver is a safer driver, and of course it's based on the little Citroen Visa. So we're not talking about vans from the past where you had to really suffer, that you drove very much like a car. It's also telling us there's a free band radio fitted as standard. Of course, you would have never got that in the 70s. So nice to see these little features coming on. It's even saying you can even get a fancier radio if you really want to, which is quite nice. And it shows some of those little features that you get inside. And then a nice little list of all the standard features on these particular models in the UK. So well equipped really is what I'm saying for just a little van. The final page is the specification page, so we'll certainly have a look at that. All the specifications for the three engines, the 15E, the 1124cc, the 15D, 1769cc diesel, and the C15E petrol, 1360cc. And the difference is the very small petrol engines, just a small 47 horsepower. The diesel and the larger petrol are both 60 horsepower. But like I say, I don't remember the petrols too well, I must admit. And here this is where it tells us about the gearbox options, from that 4-speed only on the smaller ones to a choice actually of a 4-speed or a 5-speed on the diesel, and it actually looks like it's just a 5-speed on the bigger petrol, so I do apologise for that. And then it gives you a list of the brakes and suspension details, your tyre choice, of course Michelin, very closely related to Citroen, some of the weights and fuel capacity. And then at the top here it gives us sort of your equipment specifications. Sadly it doesn't show us them three colours. I'm thinking that other colour is probably blue, but if you do know, please jot that down. And the comfort and trim features. So there's a few little options there, from load liners to cargo guards to cab cargo rack, or a roof rack. So nice little features you could get on there. And there's your dimensions, which it just about tunes in on. Before, if we go right to the very bottom, this is where it shows the date, the 31st of March 1988. So there we go, there's today's brochure for the C15 vans. If you've got any memories of these vans, please do jot that down in the comments. But that's all we've got for you for today. Well, again, we'll be back on Wednesday for more brochure reviews. So please do like and subscribe, and we'll see you very soon. Take care and goodbye.